talk about Zefr. And for those of us in the audience that might not know what it is that Zefr does, give us the kind of the short elevator pitch.
Really quick pitch is we're a contextual data platform, and we work on behalf of brands, but only on the walled gardens, so YouTube and in-stream video for Facebook. And maybe some of the viewers are wondering, like, well, why is this guy this is about news and about the content on the open web, but for the last 4.5 years, we've been really engaged in how you technically determine and get precision and granularity around contextual targeting. And we've had some incredible sort of discoveries and truths that have come out of this process. And I think it's highly applicable to what's happening right now in the ecosystem on the open web. So I just wanted to share a lot of what we've discovered, because I think it'll be empowering for publishers to understand, we're hearing in market brands are using precise technology, yet we're seeing still a lot of ad blocking. Why is that? And so hopefully I can speak to that today.
Yeah, we definitely will. We've been kind of beating the drum on a campaign that we're calling News Saves Lives. Is that kind of how we got here, which was an acknowledgement way back, now 2 months ago, kind of news consumption going through the roof, news never being more important, and brands, marketers, agencies avoiding the news because that's what they've done historically. And it was obviously important for us to support the news because obviously lives were in the balance. So we've been on this education thematic, which I think is part of our session here today, to kind of talk about, understanding context and sentiment is super important, and just kind of a broad stroke of kind of keyword blocking sometimes has unintended consequences. So why don't we just get into that? So you've done, we had a great chat, Richard. It's like a week ago or so, although days kind of somewhat blurry at the moment. But some of the challenges with keyword blocking around brand safety and brand suitability. Can you share some of the stuff that you've learned?
Sure. So I'm going to kind of deliver, I think, the tough news. There are definitely things that publishers can do. And I think Jenny has all the good news because they've been a really, really forward-facing brand in terms of striking relationships with premium publishers. But from a technology standpoint, I'm going to speak to that because that's where there's a disconnect right now in the marketplace. And I'll specifically speak to the technology providers. And it's good that the publishers are educated as to why this is all occurring. So at a very high level, we all know why keyword blocking doesn't work. On the average blacklist, there's 1,800, 2,000 keywords. You could say, oh, we're going to take COVID-19 off of our blacklist. But by the way, I didn't even know that virus was on that blacklist. I didn't even know that death or illness was on that blacklist. And basically, keyword technology just works on term frequency. A tech provider is scanning the page to see if these terms appear on the page. And why would virus ever appear next to sports content? That's an outlier. That must not be brand suitable or brand worthy. And then an ad doesn't show up. But what we've realized, and what it's kind of a tough place right now, is a lot of these companies that provide this solution are also going out to market with, hey, we have more nuanced or precise solutions. They're using words like semantic technology, we have sentiment technology, all things that are more precise. The two takeaways we know after doing this for 4.5 years around video, which is also true for web and banner, is that you need you need two things built into your tech stack. The first thing you need to do is you need some way to talk to the brand or the agency to understand what they deem is important or how they classify content. And that's, by the way, there's been a ton of work around this by Jenny's associate, Luis DeComo, and the World Federation of Advertisers, saying, like, look, platforms are not doing a good job. Like, when we say sports content, we don't mean esports. And when we say health and wellness, we don't mean homeopathic. Like, that granularity around how you define, getting on the same page with the brand is really important. And most of those mechanisms there's no mechanism to capture that nuance right now with a lot of these tech providers. The second thing, and much more important than that, is algorithms on their own can't detect nuance. Humans can. And what is imperative in order to get precision is you need actually data that comes from humans. It's called supervised data. So you need humans to look at content and say, we've heard what the brand wants to be around. This meets the brand criteria. This doesn't meet the brand criteria. That has to be done in mass scale, thousands and tens of thousands of reviews. Because what machines are great at is machines are great at detecting patterns in positive signals and negative signals and replicating those patterns. That's fundamentally what machine learning is about. But if the data coming in is not accurate or not true north, then the data coming out won't be good. And that's where I think like publishers are saying, oh, we're hearing that the brands are getting more nuanced technology. How come our ads are still being blocked? It's because there's not that human component involved in a lot of these tech stacks. And look, I think it's an industry standard. I think publishers should start demanding it. Brands should start demanding it. It's an important source of truth that needs to be fed into the machines.
Yep. So that is super interesting. That's what we were talking about a week ago, and thank you for sharing it with the audience.